Well, good evening, everybody. So I have I have resettled 6 families here in the state of Connecticut. Our first family was from Liberia, as well as Nigeria, 3 Iraqi families, and just recently we are currently resettling a family from Syria. Hold it up? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. I can tell you, as a leader of the ministry, as well as being a volunteer, it is the most powerful journey that you are about to embark on. What can I tell you about? When you know your family's background, you really want to understand culturally the cultural differences and try and respect those differences. We provided a cultural training for our volunteers. Once we knew, we actually partnered with the Newtown Mosque to help us train our volunteers, because when they come here, it is a huge shock to them. So we want to be sure that we welcome them and that we understand the cultural differences. Like, for example, in the Muslim community, male, female, some prefer that if the wife is alone, that not a male enter the home, that we get female drivers for the wife. They eventually understand if we cannot actually accommodate their transportation need. They're very quickly adjusting. Okay, you can't get a female driver, we'll go. Anybody to take us. So you do want to understand the cultural differences. You also want to exercise religious tolerance. You don't want to force them into your beliefs, and you want to respect their beliefs. We do welcome them in our church. If they choose to go, we'll show them around. It's their choice. We always give them their choice. And right away, we do try to understand if they have that religious, faithful background, who can we partner with and connect them with right away. So the last several families, again, the mosque has been huge in helping us and making them feel very welcomed here as well. Trauma informed. So yes, every family comes with trauma, and it's our job to not ask questions, be a good listener. Don't bring up the trauma. I mean, this is probably pretty much common sense, but they will tend to want to share their story, which is great, and being a good listener without asking too many details. I have one family that shared right away everything, and another, to this day, there are details of the story that I don't quite understand, but I would never ask to try and make that connection. So they choose what they want to share. Also being aware of discrimination. You are going to have a very close relationship with this family. The family will definitely appreciate all of your help. You'll want to take pictures. You'll want to share it on Facebook. Look at my friend, And that's one of the things that we try to do, is protect them from being publicly known. You just never know, and especially in the time that we're in, we want to be very sensitive to not make it public and not use social media to share. With that said, we also have asked the families, again, giving them their choice. It's their choice. We resettled the very first Iraqi family in the state of Connecticut. I had the media calling me every day. We want to do an interview. We want to do an interview. So we had to be careful and manage that as well, and let the family know that you have a choice. If you want to tell your story, you can. But know the other side, know the risks of doing that, but if you want to, we will set it up. So again, it was their choice, what they chose, what they wanted to do. We mentioned the core training that the family will attend in New Haven, the cultural orientation and resettlement education. So we sat down with the family and made sure that they understood our culture right away, because sometimes with the training in New Haven doesn't happen right away. So we want to make sure that they understand our laws, that they understand that your children cannot be left alone while you go for a walk, or, so we sit down and we have a list of things that we want to touch upon, but they get an in-depth training, and that training actually, that New Haven puts on, actually validates what we have gone over. So the primary goal of the ministry is, as was mentioned here, is that we want to lend a helping hand, not a handout. Don't treat them as victims. They won't want to be treated as victims. They want to integrate into society as quickly as possible. So, you want to make sure that they don't become dependent. If you are doing, there's many volunteers, let every volunteer have a piece in helping the family. Don't feel that you need to take over because this isn't going the way that you had thought it should go. Because if the family knows that they're going to latch on to the person who's going to give the most, but if they know that everybody's giving a piece, they won't become dependent on that one person. So we really stress boundaries to our volunteers throughout the entire time with the family, just to know that boundaries are important. They're important for you as a volunteer, because if you're always doing, you're going to get burnt out. But they're also important for the family because, again, you don't want them to become dependent. You want them to become independent, okay? And so make sure that you share the love. And then, the refugee resettlement process is definitely rewarding. I know that you don't go into it thinking what you're going to get out of it, but it is very rewarding. Take the opportunity to learn from the family. They're going to want to teach you. The last several families have been Arabic-speaking families, so they want to teach you, oh, you're going to teach me English. Well, I'm going to teach you Arabic. I'm like, good luck with that. But I do rely on Google Translate a lot, and Google Translate is a fabulous resource. It actually pronounces out the words for you, so that's become my #1 tool. And there are the ups and downs. It is messy at times, but to know that you have great leaders, you have a board in place, they have, Iris's policies and manual to follow. So this has been done, and it's been proven that, following what Iris put in place is definitely very important to keep the family on track towards that goal of independence. So, the leaders, I've always stressed to the volunteers that if there's no dumb questions. So if you're starting to have questions as to why things are happening this way, bring it to the leaders' attention so that we can, they can resolve as quickly as possible. So really, finally, transportation folks, you're going to have the family captive in your car. They tend to share a lot in that space because they don't like the quietness in the car. So be good listeners. There will be times when they feel so hopeless, like they don't understand what the future's going to be like. So provide words of encouragement. I know it's hard. I know it's hard right now, but in a couple of months, you're going to be great. Or that's a wonderful thing that you want to go to school. That's a great goal, things like that, because you're there to listen and not resolve their issues or problems that they have. So don't try to come back and say, well, you should do this, this, this. Just provide the words of encouragement. And without further ado, I'm finished.